And which way are you going to vote?
I'm voting to stay.
How come?
I think that, there's a lot of information about it, but, so many knowledgeable people have said, it's better to stay. And, there's been so many interviews where it's like, what is the evidence that leaving is going to benefit the UK? And there's been no hard evidence. And a lot of the reason for leaving is all about immigrants. I don't want more immigrants coming to the country, which I'm completely opposed to. I think that it's great that the UK is so multicultural, and I think we should embrace it. And I don't think leaving the EU will help Britain in any way.
I was actually discussing it with my mum and my brother today. Well, basically for food regulations, we look at like places like America, like even though it says, what's in there, it's there, but with over here, like there's more monitoring, so we see exactly what chemicals are in there, and that's because of the EU, as well as moving around for like other citizens in the EU. It really connects us,
Is there any aspect of leaving that bothers you, though, that concerns you for the future?
I think it was a loss of jobs that could happen, but I see it as where big business will leave, there will be a lot of smaller companies that will obviously prosper and create more jobs anyway. They're going to compete in a market which is going to basically give consumers better value, better service, and I think it's ultimately going to be a better service for the UK.
Do you feel like both sides of the campaign have been relatable to young people? Like, do you feel like you've had all the information that you need kind of given to you?
Not really. I've studied politics, and even I feel a bit in the dark about it sometimes. I feel like the campaigns have largely been focused on grandiose claims about starting World War III, or Boris Johnson saying what Hitler wanted to do was what the EU is doing. So I don't feel like either campaign has been particularly focused on kind of solid arguments and nuance of what is a really complicated political discussion.
What most worries you if we do leave?
I think the fact that we won't have access to the security databases that we have across Europe to be able to transfer information quickly. I think in the last 18 months it's been shown that security crosses borders, not only in terms of the physical threats but cyber threats as well. So I think we have so much more in terms of security to benefit, I think.
Just think we're better off. I was going to vote yes for Scotland to leave the UK, as I think we're better off as a smaller nation by ourselves.
Why do you think you're better off as a smaller nation by yourself?
It's been proven though as well, like everyone through the stats as well, there's nothing really, they're just kind of scaremongering to keep us in like they did with the yes vote. And then it's, same tactics again, and then got screwed us over last time, so you know what's coming again this time.
Is there any aspect of leaving, though, that would concern you?
Well, obviously the financial, because obviously that is our big risk, but at the same time, there's it's shown that we can do it without the EU as well, though.
Where have you been getting your information from? What sources do you trust?
Well, I watch a lot of interviews and read a lot of news. There's some good BBC pieces that have, I think there was a recent Panorama that has sort of picked apart all of these sort of figures that you hear, £350 million a week that we're going to save, that we can put back into the NHS, and it's like, well, actually we get a lot of that back. And you wouldn't invest it in the NHS, would you, Boris? Because you've openly admitted that you'd like to privatise it. So, it's those sorts of things where it's just like, you're just being lied to by so many people.